Hello, Julian.
Hi, Mike.
So what are we going to do today then?
Now we've got one of the best ever 60-second CPDs, completely off the cuff, hot and cold therapy, and it's by Physio.RVN, Hannah Olliff-Lee.
We'd better get Hannah on then, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Ho.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings.
And it's Hannah.
Hello, Hannah.
Hello, Hannah.
How are you guys?
Fine, yeah. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Hannah, it's so lovely to see you.
It's so nice to meet you guys.
I was trying to remember have we met, Hannah? Did we meet at Congress or something along the way? Because
maybe?
Your face is so familiar from the from your Twitter thing and whatever.
I'm on LinkedIn a lot, if that helps. I've also got a Instagram and a Facebook, which is nursing based.
You weren't at Congress this year, BVNA Congress.
I was a speaker this year.
I wonder if I caught sight of you there, because I was there this year, but I was mainly in meetings and stuff.
What did you do at Congress, Julian?
Well, I was mainly in meetings, except for party night when I wasn't in a meeting. So I'm so sorry I didn't catch your lectures at Congress. How did it go?
Yeah, it was really good. Well, I was a first-time lecturer, so I got the typical first-time lecturer slot, which was the last lecture on the last day.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I was really grateful for people turning up, because I was sort of like, if it was me, I'd be on my way home. So
well, that's great. That's great. I did that. I did that years ago. I was the last lecturer on the last slot, back when it was a Sunday, so it was even more of a rush to get home. I was doing an ultrasound lecture, and they thought ultrasound was going to be pretty popular, so they put me in the biggest lecture hall, and 5 people turned up, and they all sat at the back.
Yeah, well, this is what happened. They all sat. No one sat in the front row, and I'm kind of going, guys, I'm not going to bite. Like, there's like 10 of us. Come on.
So I gave
we don't believe you.
Closer, and in the end, I said, "Okay, I'm going down there." So I walked down, took the microphone, walked down, and sat between them, pointing to bits on the screen with the laser pointer, and it was good fun. Every 10 or 15 minutes, I tried to sort of shift up. They were having nothing.
They were giving you nothing.
Did they ask lots of questions?
Yeah, they did actually, and we had quite a lot of people watching online until the live stream computer blew up.
Oh no!
35 minutes in, it's just blue screen of death.
Oh.
And,
Did it record still?
I think so, which was really good. So, but I loved it.
What were you speaking on?
I was doing veterinary leadership, so I was talking about once you become a head nurse, how you manage the team and what that transition's like, and how to have those difficult conversations, which are quite awkward for us all. So.
Feedback sandwiches, huh?
No. The feedback sandwich is a joy eraser, you see. So basically, by giving something positive and then negative, you've then gotten rid of the positive thing.
Yeah.
So
but you do another positive at the end.
Yep, still not the same thing. Now focus on the negative. So I learned a lot of this sort of stuff from Alan Robinson. So what we do is use his iMessage technique. So it's the only topic of conversation. And you say, I've noticed that, you've been 10 minutes late. It makes me feel like you don't want to be here. I'd really appreciate it if you'd come in 10 minutes earlier.
Right.
So but that makes people feel guilty, does it, instead? Or
it's more to make it more personal, instead of going, the team are moaning the whole time that you're never here on time.
Right.
Okay.
So, and by making it the only topic of conversation, and you do the same with praise. So you don't go, what you did was really great today, but could you come in tomorrow at 8? You've got to make it a one thing conversation.
Okay.
Quite interesting.
We had someone on a few weeks back who ultimately hypnotized us, but before that, she said you try not to say but. So you should say, I think you did a really good job the other day, and I noticed you were late in this morning. Yep. And where do we go from there?
Yeah, so but, also, and however are all sorts of words that go. So you'll say something they've done really well, and then do but, however, or also, and you go, well, what was great has gone.
Yeah.
Right.
And now what I'm going to say is what the problem is.
Right.
Interesting.
So it's a lot of it's about language that we absorb that we don't even realise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess they're triggers, aren't there? Word triggers.
Yeah.
That as soon as someone says it, you start thinking, oh, I'm in for it now.
With respect, Julian.
Mm.
There's a classic one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You see, and I felt guilty already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you say with respect, what you mean is, I'm going to show you no respect now because I think you're being crap.
Yeah.
So how did you started with Alan Robinson?
Yes. So I work for Panhard Vets in Kent.
Yeah.
They are, you might know them, they've just become an employee-owned trust.
I helped to design the BSAVA Congress last year with Andrew Green.
Oh, perfect. Oh, he's lovely. He's brilliant.
Isn't he great? He's fantastic.
He's also the best boss ever.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's really into his neurolinguistic programming, isn't he? And
yes,
stuff.
so that's where a lot of that's come from. And he got Alan on board. And basically the whole leadership team does training with Alan every 3 months.
Right.
So we sit down in a room all together and we talk about situations that we've had and how we want to talk to people and the language that we want to use to create a positive mindset or a positive way of moving forward. So we've got a few sayings that are things like people support what they create. So by getting your team involved and helping you make things, they're going to follow up with it. And it's evolution, not revolution, which means don't go in all guns blazing and say, this is how we're doing it. You do it slowly. So lots of different things like that, which really, really help create that positive place.
Mm-hmm. We've got classic veterinary practices where a vet has owned a practice for a long time and he's built and employed a team around him. Quite often in the current situation and climate, that owner will sell out to a corporate who, after a couple of years, will bring in a separate clinical director to manage the practice on their behalf. What's the model that you're working in?
So we work on employee owned. So every single person who is employed by the practice owns the practice in theory.
Right.
That's like John Lewis, isn't it?
Yes. So as far as I know, I believe we're the first veterinary practice in the UK to do so.
Right.
You are indeed. Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're essentially the same as John Lewis. So what we've done is we've selected an employee board member and they go to all the board meetings and sort out all of those things on our behalf.
Right.
And then once they've done their term of office, we will re-elect another representative for us.
Okay.
And what that means is any sort of profits and things that come in that then the employees get to enjoy.
Okay, so you are in effect shareholders of the business?
Yes, so we don't own actual shares, so to speak, but while we're employed there, we have a say in all that sorts of
and are involved in profit sharing.
Yes.
Okay, interesting model. I'd like to look into that a bit more.
Yeah, so we've got a website which is called the British Veterinary Employee Owned Association. I had to think that one through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Andy and the other partners felt that it was quite important to go that way because they didn't want to go down the corporate route, did they? They wanted to steer clear of that.
They're so forward thinking because they were so upset that so many people were worried that they would sell out to corporates.
Right.
And they've always been very, very proudly independent. The vision of the practice has always been, we want to be the biggest independent in the Southeast, and we want to have a national name. We want to have our people speaking at congresses, that sort of thing. So actually, for them, protecting their independence was so important, especially with the world we're in now. And it was something they've thought of for a long, long time, and it just seemed like the time was right to do it.
Right.
That's tremendous. And it's working out okay? Everyone's
we love
engaged with it?
Yeah, everyone's really engaged with it, and everyone likes, I've always felt that the practice is my house, so to speak. Well, now it really is my house.
Cool. So are you the employee representative then?
No, I'm not actually.
Has it changed the sort of career path and structuring of everyone there, or have their jobs remained the same, but they just earn a little more if the practice earns more? Do you see what I mean? Is it?
Yes.
Has the structure changed?
It doesn't change the day to day so much. It's just more the security that we're not going to go to corporate and everything's not going to change. So it's knowing that we're in a safe place, if that makes sense, and that we've got a future that's assured and that we can invest ourselves in.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless everyone gets together and says, hey, let's sell to a corporate.
Yeah, exactly. But we've got however many employees, so we're all going to vote on it and that sort of thing, especially something that big, which I don't think any of us want to do. We love the fact that we're independent and can decide, and that's such a powerful thing. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I can't wait to see how it evolves.
Well, we're 6 months already in.
Yeah, I saw the announcement when it happened, and Andy was just really made up, I think. So excellent, really pleased about that. And getting back, but so your title is still head nurse.
No, so it's just changed because I've just come back from maternity leave.
Congratulations.
So thank you very much. He's currently snoozing.
So we may actually get interrupted at any moment.
No, he's fairly sturdy, to be fair.
Oh, bless.
Good.
I just treat him like a puppy.
Well, as long as he messes the cage and not outside, you're okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Good.
But Pennards has allowed me to diversify a lot in my career. So I actually started with Pennards back in 2017.
Right.
And I came as an RVN. Within 6 months, I then became nursing team lead, which is a shared role with the head nurse. So the head nurse does sort of admin and sorting out the qualified nurses. I did the student nurses and the day-to-day running of things.
Right.
And then I did that for 3 years. Then the pandemic hit.
Yes, that old thing.
That old thing. And I was 6 weeks pregnant at the time. So I got sent home. I started managing the telemedicine app that we have, which is Pets app. So I was doing nurse consults essentially from my kitchen, as much as I could until my tunic wouldn't fit.
Couldn't you just sort of wear it at the top bit?
Well, I ended up moving to a scrub top that I could sort of wriggle up. And then I've been on maternity leave, and now I've come back to do their social media and marketing.
All right.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Which is huge news, isn't it, really, for practices, that they've got to keep up with that.
Yeah, and it's something that I did actually over the pandemic.
Right.
So I was doing a weekly live, like Q&As with the clients, things they could do at home, how to socialise their puppies at home, because of course everyone decided they wanted a puppy at that time.
Of course.
So how to do the normal things that we would do, but from home.
Right.
Which was quite funny. Some funny demos. Clients really loved it. Our engagement went through the roof.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that role was created for me. And then in the middle of all of that, on maternity leave, I handed in my dissertation, and I'm now qualified animal physio.
Wow.
Yes, and we shall get onto that a little later, I think.
I want to go back in time, though, if I can, Hannah. So, thank you, Julian. So, what got you into veterinary nursing in the first place?
It was a complete accident, actually.
Okay.
So I have I'm a farmer's daughter.
Okay.
And we've had everything on the farm that you could imagine. And I basically have a real passion for horses. We've got a stud farm for Hackneys and Welsh cobs. So Hackneys are endangered. So we've always been quite pro advocating them. And
first bred, I think, in the 14th century in Norfolk.
Correct.
What?
Did my homework.
Yeah.
I used to ride a Hackney.
Did you?
Yeah.
They're quite...
She was an aggressive bugger. It's called Sherry. And you needed a bottle of it when you fell off her every time.
Oh, bless.
Do carry on. I'm digressing.
So in my early days, I was set on an equestrian path. Before I finished secondary school, I went to the Junior World Championships for carriage driving.
Wow.
Which was amazing, brilliant experience. And my Hackney was the first one ever in Hungary.
Gosh.
So lots of people were very, very interested in him, which was great. And we came home with a silver medal.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
amazing.
And then I got home and went, best decide what I'm going to do with my life. And I had lots of offers from universities to do equine things. And I sort of went, actually, I do all of these things anyway. I'm not really sure that this is going to challenge me.
Right.
So I took a year off and did what every teenager does at that time. I went out drinking, went out with my friends, worked in a pub, all those sorts of things. And my now husband said, have you ever thought about veterinary nursing? You're so good with animals. And I sort of went, yeah, sure, I'll do that then. And 366 letters later to every practice on the practice standard scheme for training. They all got a letter from me. I got 5 replies, 3 of which were a no and 2 of which were a yes. Interviewed for the 2 and got a job from 1.
Wow.
So there's a real moral in that, isn't there? In that, you've just got to persevere and keep going, because a five response from over 360 letters. That's a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
And it's not really rejection, is it? Because they didn't even bother.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's a lot of competition, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I also tried to make my letter. It took me 3 weeks to write it, actually. I remember at the time, and I kept getting people to grammar check it and things like that. And actually my first boss, bless him, David Cuff, who I am always endlessly grateful to. And
I love David.
He's brilliant, isn't he? And he said to me, do you know how many letters I read a day that have spelling mistakes? Yours didn't. It's why you're here.
Wow. Wow. Brilliant stuff.
Proofread.
So persevere and proofread.
Yep.
Wow, that's fantastic. So that started you on your course into veterinary nursing.
Yeah, and I worked for David for 3.5 years in Clapham.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that practice. I loved the clients. I loved David. It was a real, despite being in sort of southwest London, it was a real neighbourhood vet. Mm-hmm. Everyone knew everybody. People would speak to you walking down the street. You knew your clients inside out.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. And for me, I got a little bit of London life. I thought I was the bee's knees. So I was really sad when I left Dave's, actually.
Oh.
I had to move closer to home because my grandmother had been diagnosed with bone cancer, and I had to go and live with her.
Gosh.
So and then I moved to Goddard's.
Right.
Which was lovely. Actually, I really liked working for Goddard's too. They let me diversify loads. I got to work in 4 different clinics a week at one point.
Well, Goddard's are sort of like one of they are one of the big
they are the biggest non-corporate groups, I think,
throughout the whole of London,
country, I think.
Yeah, they are brilliant. There's so many pluses to working for them. And like I say, I got to work in 4 different clinics and clinical coach in all 4 of them. And then I had the Friday was my admin day to do all the typing.
Wow. Yeah.
They're big employers still, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and they've got so many, like I say, so many benefits for working for them. And they've got their own system where all their staff get discounts off of different high street stores and things like that, which is a real benefit, especially to someone who likes to shop.
You like shopping, do you?
Oh, I love shopping.
Now, clothes shopping or shopping for Terry Pratchett books or horses?
Horses and homeware.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't help
all
it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So do you have horses at the moment? Do you actually breed now?
Yeah, so we actually we've got a what I call a miracle baby actually this year. So Buddy, the Hackney, who was born from a 26-year-old stallion, He was born in April, and sadly 6 weeks later his mum died of hypocalcemia, which apparently has been really bad this year. And
no, that's because of the grass growth rate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to my horse days. Whenever the grass grows very quickly in the spring due to the late frost and early rain, you get a nutritionally imbalanced grass growth with high phosphate and low calcium, and lots of magnesium. So you can get magnesium tetany earlier on in the year, but you get hypocalcemia later on in the year, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as I understand it, because I'm small animal, I'm not really large animal. It's just I'm large because I have them.
I don't do horses anymore because I don't have much of a skull anymore.
Well, see this?
Yeah.
Rather prominent lump.
So Hannah is pointing to a rather fetching little lump on her forehead.
Was from a horse shot her head up and smacked me in the head, and I'm pretty sure it's a fracture of some kind because it feels quite spiky when I touch it.
And how long ago was that?
May.
Okay. It's staying up rather too long for a periosteal bruise, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
A horse whacking its head up was what landed me in hospital with a subdural hemorrhage when I was at college.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think I can't remember it.
Wow.
People who were watching it said the horse reared up and hit its head on me. No,
this was just a simple, I didn't move quick enough and she moved at the same speed.
Wow. So how many horses have you got then? So you're obviously breeding them.
Yeah, so we've got 16 altogether.
Wow, that's a lot of horses.
That's a lot. So I have 3.
Right.
Okay.
Which is, my dad's a hoarder, long story short. But we tend to have quite a lot of horses who have come to us as a sorry case. For example, one of the stallions we have was a rescue. He came to us completely full, chocolate box full of pneumonia, all run up, no weight on him. So he's been fed up and looked after and sorted, and actually now he's doing really well. We had my first ever pony was rescued from a market. He was a Dartmoor pony. He'd been taken from his mum at 4 months old and was being hand reared. And we bought him for a grand sum of £45.
Mm-hmm.
And he came home in the back seat of a Mercedes car.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
What's he drive now?
Something with more horsepower, obviously.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Wow. So, that's a lot of work looking after 16 horses.
Yeah.
So you get up at 3 o'clock every morning.
Not quite 3, 5.
Feed the baby. Go down to the yard. Muck out all horses. Come back home, feed the baby, and then go into the vet practice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, that's a long old day.
It's another one in the zoo.
Wow.
I am very, very, very lucky, and it's not just because he's listening, to have a super supportive husband who helps out a lot and works from home. So he's been super. He had our son while I was at BVNA and everything, so I couldn't do it without him. And he even begrudgingly will help with ponies.
So big thanks to John then.
Yeah.
Yes. Well done, John.
Good man. That's brilliant. So I understand that you're also involved in physiotherapy. You mentioned that your current employer has been very supportive in guiding you and allowing you to sort of go your way. So what's got you into physiotherapy? Because you've just qualified, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us more about that, Hannah. That's fascinating stuff.
8 years ago, when I left David's, I said, having been here and watched all your orthopedic ops and stuff, I want to be a physiotherapist. I think it's a place that practices have room for. I think rehab is really underused, and I think I could do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved from practice to practice a little bit, trying to find someone to support me to do so. And I found home at Pennard's. I've now been there for 5 years, which is how much I love where I am. And they had so much rehab. They had hydrotherapy, they had vets who were doing acupuncture, they had the K laser, they had therapeutic ultrasound, and I thought, yes, this is it. This is where it's going to work for me. Right. And they've just been brilliant. They've been so supportive. They've provided me with the CPD days that I needed. Every time I've done an exam, they've been like, good luck, we know you'll be fine. So I'm so grateful.
That's tremendous. And are they doing sort of structured and integrative rehabilitation clinics? So are you working together with the vet, with other nurses, with the client to do a more sort of holistic approach?
Yeah, so what we're looking at, we're evolving it all the time, because what happens is the more we start down one path, the further it goes down something else. So we started just looking at, for example, osteoarthritis. Right. And we know that's a big thing anyway, but it's about educating our clients earlier about the signs that they are. So it's not until the dog's completely lame that they come in and look for pain relief and hydro and all that stuff. So we're catching them early on and looking for those subtle changes in behaviour. I mean, the nurses are phenomenal. They're all very passionate about geriatric care anyway. So we're working with the vets. We've got the physio on board. We've got the hydro on board. We've got everything within the practice so that actually our clients aren't having to go anywhere else to have access to that specialty.
And I think it's probably worth mentioning at this time that if anyone's listening out there who has an elderly dog, or a dog that's or a cat even, that's just had some sort of surgery, or for whatever reason is struggling in any way, physiotherapy, just like it does with people, really, really helps. So looking at one of the most common orthopedic surgeries that we do, I think, as vets, simple cruciate surgery. I say simple in inverted commas because cruciate surgery these days is anything but simple. We do either TTAs or TPLOs or Z-legs or lateral sutures at the practice, depending almost on the phase of the moon. But I don't do any of them without the clients committing to do physiotherapy afterwards. Yeah. And I think that's been the real bone, not a bone, the real bonus. Boon. Thank you very much. Yeah. I haven't had my usual gin, that's a problem. So the real boon over the last few years is actually the realization that there are physiotherapists out there, or in some practices, that will actually make any orthopedic, particularly, intervention much, much more successful. Yes. So we used to say in a very arrogant way, we just start the pet on its road to recovery by surgery. But actually now we really mean it, because we do just start that. And we may tweak a little bit here, cut a bit there, and sew a bit there. But actually, it's teaching them to use that limb, joint, muscle again that gets them there. And so I can't really understate how important physiotherapy is.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because in human medicine, we wouldn't even entertain having any surgery without a course of physiotherapy to help the patient recover post-surgery, would we? That's a normal course of events.
Well, I mean, look how many people, even without having surgery, go for a massage because they've been stressed and they've taken a lot of strain. Yeah, it's so valuable, and also it's proven to make you feel good.
Hang on a minute. Hang on.
What?
Right. Okay.
Oh dear.
So, Hannah. Okay, you're talking about massages. Yeah. I'm picturing this. You've done this so you can cuddle dogs, haven't you?
Oh, definitely.
Poor doggy's had surgery, therefore I need to cuddle it 3 times a week, from 1 o'clock till 1:30, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then we'll come back in for another session next week. That's honestly, what it's.
I went into the practice today, and having not been in the practice for a while, I saw so many dogs. I got so excited. I could have cried.
Oh, bless. No, I'm teasing you there. That's totally inappropriate of me. It's just I saw
on a practical side, massage is proven to increase circulation and increase release of endorphins, which of course are happy hormones. Absolutely.
And in the person doing the massage as well.
Oh, yes.
It's a real, if we can teach a little bit of massage and a little bit of physiotherapy, so problems, passive range of movement, things to owners, then it really improves the bond with their pet as they're recovering.
So you've just hinted on one of the biggest things for me, and that's training our clients to do physiotherapy at home. Because we know it's good for them, we know it's good for us, we know it's good for the patient, most importantly. So getting them to use those little techniques throughout their recovery, and also throughout their dog getting older, you're just making everybody happier and more careful. There's nothing worse than knowing your dog's got arthritis, which is just going to potentially get worse, and going, well, there's nothing I can do. Well, actually, there are things you can do.
Do you have any top tips on that?
Oh, yeah, tons. God, changing your home is such a big thing. So avoiding slippery floors, so getting some carpets or some rubber mats down, having a nice, comfortable orthopedic mattress for your pet will be so helpful.
And we often get people, particularly with joint surgery, we get people to set up little obstacle courses in their home.
Oh, yeah.
So getting a few broomsticks lying over the floor, and getting the dogs then have to lift their legs up to get over them. That's awfully good fun. But I do say to clients, don't forget to pick them up before you go to bed. Because I had one chap who complained that he tripped over a broom that his wife had left to train the dog and hurt himself rather badly, and I should replace his coffee table. He was quite serious about it.
It was all your fault, Julian.
It was all my fault.
How dare you? But actually, even on that sort of obstacle course, there's stuff we can do for our puppies as well. Sort of proprioception training, so teaching them to be more aware. So finding them different surfaces in your home or outside of your home to walk on and to navigate, really, really important. And what that does all the time is provide them with neurological feedback that makes them go, oh, hey, that stone there, that's a little bit sharp, so I'll move this way. So it's all education.
We do this thing. I don't know if you've come across it, Hannah. Have you seen any previous episodes?
I have to confess I haven't.
No, that's all right. So what we do is we ask our guests to give us a little lecture in 60 seconds on any aspect of anything that they like.
Right. So you haven't come across 60-second CPD, but you're up for the challenge, yeah?
Oh yeah, totally.
Brilliant. Okay. What do you fancy doing 60-second CPD on?
Let's do it on hot and cold therapy, because that's something that clients can use on their patients at home.
Hot and cold. That sounds good, actually. That's nice, because it also fits in with the whole theme of the show. So right. So I've got my timer here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready for it.
So you compose yourself. So Hannah Olliff-Lee, 60 seconds CPD on hot and cold therapy, starting now.
Hi everybody, so I just wanted to talk about hot and cold therapy as a form of physiotherapy. So what they are is essentially using heat and cold to help your pet. So what you can do, cold therapy is always used when they initially have an injury. So you want to use that within the first 24 to 48 hours. Now, always with cold therapy, you need to be careful, because as much as you can get heat burns, you can get cold burns. So always make sure that you put a towel or something in between before placing it on your pet. With either therapy, you need to do it for 10 minutes every 4 hours. This is just to give the body a bit of time to reset itself. Heat therapy, you want to specifically target injuries or joints, because it's really good at thinning joint fluid, increasing circulation and providing pain relief. Now, you can do this in a variety of ways. You can get some hot and cold packs, or you can use Wheaties or something like a radiator bed for cats. And that's about it, because I'm about to start out.
That is
fantastic.
Wow. And that's completely off the cuff, was it?
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I can talk physio all day long.
Fabulous.
That was really good. That was really good.
Excellent.
And actually, there are huge benefits, aren't there? Particularly, well, for both, but particularly with cold therapy. We use it on a lot of our surgeries, immediately post-surgery, because it's obviously anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
It's also analgesic.
Yeah.
You put cold on something, it'll take the pain away. So for human cruciate surgery, they will put a cold tube around your knee, put a nerve block in, and have the knee bending in a funny machine for about 12 hours post-surgery, just to create a passive range of movement there. And the cold treatment's usually carried on for 5 to 7 days afterwards. So
wow.
Loses, as you say, that the best benefits are 24 to 48 hours after injury.
Yeah, so you want cold for immediate injury and then heat for chronic.
Yeah. Or a combination of both, or a combination of both plus laser.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah.
You love a laser, do you?
You're talking my language.
Yeah.
You mentioned hydrotherapy. Do you have a treadmill or a deep tank?
So we have a treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an underwater treadmill, which we use quite a lot. It's a slightly longer one. It's the slightly longer version so that you can get 2 therapists in there. Because we've had a few dogs. Actually, one of the first dogs I treated physio-wise at Pennard's was called Sam. He had a clot removed from his cervical spine and was paraplegic. And we got him back in the tank and we were doing his physical, moving his legs. And within 3 weeks, he was up on his feet again.
Wow.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It just makes me feel good all the time. And actually, the even better thing about it was he was quite an aggressive patient initially. And by the time he left, he was the loveliest dog. So happy to see us. Would come running in. You know, it changed his whole experience because he realised very quickly we were actually trying to help him.
Right.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a real bonding exercise, isn't it? Yeah.
Especially when you ask the owner, can you stop feeding him because we need him to work for a bit of food?
Yes. Now there's the thing, isn't it? So where to next for you, Hannah, in terms of career?
Honestly, I have no idea. I've kind of got where I am by asking for opportunity, actually. So I talked about this at BVNA, and I said if I had one piece of advice, I would say seize your opportunity. So I actually ended up talking at BVNA because they had an open call for speakers. I sent them a talk I wanted to do. My son was 2 days old at the time on the day of closing. And I had misread a bit of it and saw that they needed a video. So I sent them one at 2:00 in the morning.
It's fairly normal working hours for the BVNA, I think.
Yeah, they do that. They're all right.
And when they messaged me back going, we'd like to invite you to speak, I went, really? Okay. And yeah, so a lot of the places that I've got to, I've gone, well, can I do this? Or would it be okay? With the sort of thought of, they can only say no. So I think you have to seize your opportunity and find out what's out there and give it a go. You know, what's the harm in taking something on and going, actually, this doesn't work for me? That's fine, because then at least you've tried it. I
think you're right. I think the biggest mistake we can ever make is to say no because we are afraid to. Unless, I mean, there are some good things to be afraid of. So, you know, a biggest mistake in your life isn't to say no to wrestling in a pile of venomous snakes because you're afraid to. That would be a good thing to say no to.
It's more opportunities of what you want to do.
Yeah,
that's probably worded better.
It's very easy to go, oh, well, I've always wanted to do this, but, you know, no one's offered it to me. Okay, but did you ask? Did you try? Did you find out how much it was going to cost? Did you find out how to make that happen?
Yeah.
You just wait for someone to say, would you do it?
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's a very different scenario to actually putting yourself forward and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
So that's very inspirational, Hannah. But is there anything you would have done differently?
Oh, so many things I would have done differently.
Care to share some?
Yeah, of course. So I actually wrote an article recently about high functioning anxiety in the workplace and where that came from. And it came from me as a student, not really knowing the realities of working in a vet practice and not understanding that I took it on myself that failure was not an option. So I then created this high functioning anxiety, which often leads to blame culture, because you kind of go, well, it wasn't me, so it's someone else. And I think had I known then what I know now, I would have invested a lot more time in my personal growth, in my own resilience and my communication skills, because I learnt a lot of that the hard way. And actually, I think it's something we don't value enough in the veterinary profession.
Interesting. So would that be your word of advice to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, definitely. It would definitely be, learn to express yourself in a way that's not upsetting to other people, in how to confront the fact that you're upset without bottling it inside, because that's what we all do. We don't want to admit there's a problem. And actually, just to be honest, like being honest is one of the biggest things, and we don't want to do that because we're people pleasers. That's a really hard thing to admit. And we never tend to sort of say to someone, I'm upset about this, until it's absolute breaking point. So then it's this huge thing instead of something a little bit bite-sized that you could have dealt with. So, for example, say it was the fact that I didn't want to work till 7 o'clock every night, or because I ended up staying late. And I would wait until I'm so tired I just couldn't cope anymore, and then go to somebody in tears instead of going, look, I've worked a few nights till 7 in a row. I'm finding it really hard. Could we change the rota a little bit? Then it's a small thing. It's not a big thing.
It is. We feel there's a guilt, isn't there, and a reticence to talk about anything that has displeased us, or as though we're afraid of offending someone. And you can see it. We've all done it in restaurants, haven't we? You sit in a restaurant, you think, what's this tough old bit of beef, or as vegetarian, what's this tough old bit of tofu I've been given? This rotten old stuff. The sauce is disgusting. And the waiter comes along and says, everything all right with your meal? Oh, lovely.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's good.
Yeah.
So is that a culture?
Your mouth's full.
Yes. Yeah. So is that a cultural thing? Is that a British stiff upper lip thing? Where does that come from?
I think a lot of it is a British thing, only because having worked with lots of European, lots of Aussie, lots of Kiwi people, they're far more direct. Yeah. Which I actually found really hard, because I was a bit like, oh my God, are they having a go at me?
Yes. Are they being rude?
Yeah. Because I'm a bit Hugh Grant effect. Could you probably please do this for me?
If it's not too much trouble, honestly.
Exactly. It's not.
Hi, mate. Will you get your ass over there and get that sorted?
That's the difference. And I think we sort of do this. We have to pretend all the time that everything's fine. No one's fine.
Yes. Well, honestly, I'll remove the knife from my knee later. I'm fine. I've just got a bit of the coffee table embedded in my skull, but I'm all right. Yeah. The stain will come out of the rug. It's not coffee and blood mix. It's all right. It's fine.
It's a mere flesh wound. Come back.
Got the other arm.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So it's pretty much. So we sort of set ourselves up for failure in the first place, then, don't we? Being Brits.
Yeah, and I also think we need to. There's not an education piece in nursing training about. So there's a communication module, but there's not really enough about your own personal development and your own confidence and resilience. Because I would always endure rather than be resilient.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, Rue Davis said it really, really well, actually. He said, resilience is learning to ride your surfboard. Endurance is just holding on to it and waiting for it to end.
That's an interesting, yeah.
That's a good analogy, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
Say that again.
So resilience is learning to ride the waves on your surfboard.
Yeah.
But endurance is just holding on to it and waiting for it to be over.
Listen, Hannah, you've shared an awful lot with us tonight, and you've just delivered a cracking 60-second CPD. So have we got a CPD certificate for a phenomenal 60-second CPD and a fabulous guest?
We do. Here we go. Here's a CPD certificate.
What you got?
It's even got a pun on it.
Certificate of getting physical. This certifies that we got physical. Ooh, let's get into physical.
Yeah. Certificate. Okay. Yeah, certificate. Thank you.
Therapy, of course. And there's various scenes of physical therapy. There's me doing some yoga on a rock.
I mean, that's an excellent tree pose.
It's great. I thought I like that.
Very good.
I had a little ski jump there and then doing some snorkeling there. So all good forms of exercise. And here we have a dog with both forelimbs.
Wow.
That's it.
Repaired. He had a bilateral radial fracture. So he's going to need some physio.
Yeah.
And here's a cat with. Now, what did I do with this cat? This was.
How many legs is that?
No, this was actually a traumatic cruciate rupture in a cat.
Oh, right.
Wow.
And as you can see, if you can see here, we had to remove the tail as well because
what happened to the tail?
Yeah, he got hit by a car.
Wow.
And he had a paralysed bladder for 48 hours. But my wife is an acupuncturist, both for humans and animals. And I think it was her acupuncture that got the bladder working so quickly.
Wow.
Removing the tail probably helped a bit because there was a lot of pulling on the nerves there. And he had, as I said, a traumatic rupture of the cranial and cord cruciate ligaments.
Wow.
So we did a bilateral implant there.
Cool.
And here's a Gloucester old spot pig. For no better reason than I think we should just have a moment's silence for those poor pigs who are struggling at the moment to sell at markets because they're not worth so much, and so they're having to be slaughtered early without going to feed anyone, which is a real shame.
That's a waste. That's a criminal waste.
I flip that around and tell you about a saved life from once upon a time, just because it was the funniest physio that I've ever done. So I just wanted to tell you about the funniest patient I've ever had to do physio on was actually a duck.
All right.
A duck.
I worked with a lovely vet who rescued this duck that had been hit by a car and had damaged its leg, and I helped her anaesthetize it and do the surgery, and she reattached the duck's leg. And she
did the duck have a name, Hannah?
No, she didn't actually.
I'm sure it was Matilda, wasn't it?
Probably.
Jemima.
Jemima, Huddle Duck, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And anyway, she took the drapes off and its feet were like this.
So she reattached the foot the wrong way round?
The wrong way round. So then we re-anaesthetised the duck, took the foot off and put it back on the right way.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh well. And the duck is doing very well.
The duck made a full recovery and was then released and did really well. We did some small amount of hydrotherapy in that we had a large Belfast sink in the practice.
Right.
So we did sort of walking in it first and then getting deeper and trying to get her to swim and see how it would go. It was brilliant until she covered the IDEX machine in water.
Did it have a big bill?
It did at the end, yeah. It had a big bill.
Quite appropriate. Actually, we're joking about Jemima and Matilda. The real name was L'Orange, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Very, very tasty. L'Orange Pekin.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. That's brilliant stuff. Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you today.
It's been lovely to talk to you guys. You guys are so bubbly and brilliant.
Thank you very much.
We try.
But that's a very nice thing to say, Hannah. We really appreciate that. Well, hopefully we'll give our other listeners and viewers a laugh, and don't forget to subscribe and click like below. And if you've got any ideas for future shows, get in touch with us. We'll see what we can bring on the show for you. So it only leaves for me to say, Hannah, thank you very much indeed. And may your dog go with you.
Thank you very much.
May your dog go with you.
May your dog go with you.
May your dog go with you.
And cut.
Done.
There we go.
Done. How was that then, Hannah?
Oh, that was brilliant.
You enjoy that?
Oh, I tell you what, you guys have given me a buzzing night.
Really?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
What a lovely thing to say.
Well,
Thank you.
I really, really enjoyed it. It's been really lovely.
We've enjoyed it too.
We've enjoyed it as well.
It's been great. Lovely to meet you. Have a great rest of your evening. And,
thank you very much.
Hopefully see you down the line.
Yeah, see you down the line.
Brilliant,
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks ever so much, Hannah. You take care. Bye.
Bye.